Do we garden for ourselves or for other people? Some of us really enjoy gardening and farming. Some of us might not have even started one yet. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 3 considerations, whether you're already gardening or farming, or whether you haven't quite started yet. 3 things to think about that can change our perspective. Welcome to Vida Bunda, a place where we talk about life change, about how we can be intentional so that we can give and live more abundantly. Let's get started. A few years ago, I planted a passion fruit vine at the base of a tree. Now this happened to be a tree that had aquatic lift, which means it watered the surface, and I didn't know that when I planted the vine. But a few months after I planted this vine, I was very excited to come out one morning and see that there was some passion fruit on the ground. A few days later, there was another one and a few more. And before long, we were getting 10 or 12 passion fruits per week. Then that turned into dozens. I took some of the passion fruit, planted some more vines around, and before we could know, a few months later, we had literally hundreds of passion fruit every single week. Now this turned out to be really fun. We could process the passion fruit and make juice. We could serve it to guests that came over. We could take passion fruit concentrate over to places at other social gatherings. And it just became a great way of sharing with other people. I also started producing passion fruit trees and giving those away to people who came and enjoyed the juice at our house. And it just turned out to be a wonderful, encouraging blessing for me to be able to share this with others. So today, in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 things to think about, 3 considerations about our farm or our garden. So the first consideration we're going to talk about today is to consider other people. Consider other people. And here we're going to be asking ourselves questions such as, how can I produce to give more away? Or how could I give more away from what I'm already producing? What could I plant that would actually benefit other people if I could give it to them? Another consideration under people is, how can I create more beauty in this place? Maybe your garden is in a public place, other people can see it, or maybe it's in an enclosed place, not quite as visible, but maybe people come to your house. Whichever way, how can we create more beauty for the benefit of other people? And as we're thinking about considering other people, it's not just about positive things like being able to give them more or increase the beauty that they can enjoy, but also about negative things. Are there perhaps some invasive species in my garden that I need to get rid of so that we don't harm other people unintentionally? Some of those things might get carried out to other places and cause huge problems in the future. Is there anything else that I'm doing in my garden that might actually be causing harm to other people? Maybe I'm using too much pesticide or too many chemicals or something that's going to leach down into the water system and cause other people to have damage later on in life. So the first consideration is to consider people. What am I doing in my garden that will benefit not just me and my family, but people on the whole? The second consideration is nature. How is my production space affecting nature? And a couple of things to think about here. First of all, how is it affecting the air quality, for example? If I have a garden, I can be positively contributing to improving the air in my space. How is it improving the water quality? Maybe I'm increasing water retention. Maybe the water is getting filtered through the plants that I've planted. But on the flip side of that, as we already mentioned, if we're putting dangerous chemicals, those could actually be causing problems for the water system. What about soil? How can we improve the soil? Of course, we want to improve the soil so that our garden will produce better. But beyond that, are we able to improve soil in a more general sense? And the big one then is wildlife, birds, insects. How is our production space increasing or improving life for insects and wildlife and birds? A quick story here. I planted a papaya. We got a good papaya. I planted some seeds and those came into lots of papaya trees. We planted papaya trees and I was excited to get some papayas. And just right at the point when the papayas were just about ready to pick, birds would come and eat them. And at first I was quite upset and angry about this. I got really angry at the birds. Why are they stealing my fruit? And then I had to have a change of perspective. And I said, you know what? I could actually pick some of those papayas a little bit sooner and leave some papayas purposefully for the birds. And we worked out this arrangement that just ended up working out just fine. I still got plenty of papayas, both for my family and to give away to all our neighbors and friends. But I left intentionally some papayas for the birds so that they could also enjoy the fruit from my garden. And there are so much that we could go into here about creating spaces for certain kinds of beneficial insects and plants you can plant to attract those beneficial insects if you're having problems with pests and other things that we have with wildlife. But the point here is, can we be intentional so that we're purposefully using our space to help nature? And the third consideration we're going to talk about today is our own family. How can this production space, whether it be a farm or a garden, bring even more joy to our family? How can it benefit those in our immediate space? What else could we plant? What else could we do in this place so that at the end of the day, there's more joy for our family? The Mayo Clinic has published articles about the benefits of gardening and how it helps both our physical health because of the exercise and physical movement that's involved, getting outside, how we breathe more easily, how it helps our heart rate, and also the mental benefits, mental health benefits to gardening. So I encourage you to look at that in the article. It'll be posted in the show notes. But let's think about, I want to encourage us today to think about, how is the garden or farm that we have, how is that helping others? And how can it help other people even more? How can it help nature even more? How can it help our family even more? So let me encourage us, if you already have a garden or a farm and you've done something intentionally, would you share that with us? Go ahead and put it in the comments or send us a note and share with us something that you've done to be intentional in your farm or your garden. If you are interested, I have a free guide to help you think about how you could be more intentional in your farm or garden. So just drop us a note, go to vitabunda.com, click on contact, and send us a note requesting the tool for intentional farming and gardening. And it'll just be a simple, free, 1-page or 2-page questions that you can ask yourself to help you think about how to be more intentional in your garden. If you're interested, let us know. And if you haven't started a garden or farm yet, use the same guide to think about how could you start something. Even if you don't have a lot of space, there are all kinds of alternatives of things you can do, even in your own house, to start growing a few things. Even if it's a very small garden, you can still make positive impact, which is going to benefit you, change your perspective, and help your life. Looking forward to seeing you in the next episode.